Week 8 of the Pantry Challenge, and no one wants to see the same old boring dinners all over again. This week, we're focusing on restocking my pantry with cheap homemade goodies my family loves to eat. I'm talking about cracker bread, 2 fantastic granolas that we love, freezer peanut butter and jelly roll-ups and sandwiches, all from staples I already have on hand. So stick around and I'm going to share a breakdown of what it all costs at the end. And if you're new to our channel, we are the Canny couple. I'm Julia and we're a debt-free family living and saving big on one income. And if you're tired, bored, need a reset, or to save money, stick around and be sure to hit the like and subscribe button to help us grow. So let's talk about what we're making today. So we're going to be making a lot of shelf stable stuff, but we're also going to be putting some things into the freezer. And why are we doing this? So we're doing this because yard sale season coming up, gardening season is coming up. This is one of the busiest times of the year for me, spring and fall. That's just kind of how it sort of rolls for us. Spring and fall are really busy. I'm preserving a lot in the fall. In the spring, I'm getting the garden ready. I've got yard sale season. A lot of people are selling stuff. We're going out a lot. We're doing a lot of things. You know, you're getting out of the house a lot during the spring because you've been cooped up. It's just busier for us in general. So I have a lot to get done, and I'm trying to help us save as much money as possible by kind of being ready for it ahead of time. So that's what I'm kind of doing, kind of get prepped. So we're going to be making roll-ups, peanut butter and jelly roll-ups for the freezer. Freeze super well with tortillas that I made homemade. We're also going to be making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for the freezer. Now, when I first heard of this, I was like, there's no way this works. They can't freeze well. Why would you do this? But they do. And it saves you so much time if you go ahead and already have them ready to go out of the freezer. You just pull them out of the bag, have them ready for the night before. It just saves you so much extra time. You wouldn't think that those few extra minutes help, but they really do. When you're busy in a hurry, you just need to grab and go. Then we're going to work on granola, you know, oatmeal granola. We're going to do a chocolate peanut butter. Then we're also going to do a cranberry vanilla that we're going to do. Now, normally I use maple syrup, but I have some free honey. So we're going to use honey for this one because it was free to us. So we're going to use that because it was in our pantry. It was free, so it doesn't cost us anything because, hey, it was free. We are also going to be making cracker bread. Cracker bread is a shelf-stable thing that I could put on my pantry. It's a snack. We can use it to take with us when we're yard selling. We can use it to have as a snack as we want to. And Aaron and my little one absolutely love it. It's amazing. They absolutely love to eat this. They snack on it all the time. It is wonderful. It's one of these snacks that I have found that they just gobble up. Love it to death. And then I'm making something for myself. These are chocolate covered espresso beans, and I'm making this for my headaches. So this is not really pantry challenge, just as more of a headache treatment for Julia, but we're gonna make it. So let's get started. And first we're gonna jump into our, actually we're gonna go ahead and make the granola because this is the easiest part to do for the most part. So I'm trying to cut this back because we have ran really low on maple syrup. And when I price this out, I priced it out with the maple syrup and also molasses to kind of cut back on the cost because molasses is cheaper than maple syrup. And I did half and half, and I usually typically do 1/4 of a cup of maple syrup per batch. And the way I do it is 3 cups of oats, 1/4 of a cup of maple syrup, about half and half maple syrup and molasses. And for mine, I'm doing sugar. So it's the chocolate and the chocolate and peanut butter. That's what I will eat. I'm not terribly fond of a lot of the other granola, but I love the chocolate. This is going to be the other. So mine's a ×5 batch. This is the cranberry. It's a ×4. So we're going to set this aside. Now, because I'm going to be using regular sugar, and this is 1/4 of a cup of sugar, and I also cut back the amount of cacao powder or cocoa powder I put in here. I am actually going to I cut back the amount of cocoa powder in here. I used 1/2 of a cup instead of a full cup as I would normally do because I used this really, really dark cocoa powder that I had in there. I mean, we're talking, this stuff is, it is super dark. Like, it's so dark. And it doesn't taste any different. But here's the thing. It doesn't taste any different. There's absolutely no difference at all in its taste and its texture or anything. well, it does give a bit of a different texture when you bake with it. And but my family, like, the color is so dark when you bake with it. It kind of makes it unappealing because the food is just so dark with chocolate. So whenever I had baked with it, it didn't get ate up as fast as with normal cocoa powder. So I eat this meal, and I can get it ate. And so I did half and half just to get rid of this dark cocoa powder. So I'm gonna mix my sugar, and like I said, it's 5/4 of a cup of sugar in here, and 5/2 cups of cocoa powder. And we're gonna mix it up. And I'm gonna add a little water. And the reason I'm doing it this way and not just mixing it straight into my oatmeal is because I want it to kind of make a syrup, but I don't want it to get too hot because we'll need to cool off before I mix it in here. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of water. And I'm going to slip it on medium. And I want to get it started because I do know that cocoa powder, it just does not mix very well. And I didn't want to use honey because I don't like the way chocolate and honey taste together. And I figured sugar itself tends to be one of the cheaper sweeteners compared to the maple syrup. And like I said, we only have like this much maple syrup. I could have made it work. We have enough maple syrup. I really could have made it work, but we would have been hard pressed. So I've got some peanut butter. I've got quite a bit of peanut butter here. This is mine, so I will actually get another spoon here. I was going to use the same spoon. We will not do that. I will not do that, but I will use the spoon here, and I'm going to try not to break this. And I'm going to empty this one out. Get all of this peanut butter out of this jar, or most of it. And what I will do is when I want a snack, I'll come in here and I will finish off this peanut butter whenever I need a snack. Because I'm like the one who will eat peanut butter straight from a jar. When we got married, Aaron had no idea he needed to take up, stock in peanut butter. So let me know in the comments below. Are you I'm not really a peanut butter eater, or are you I could eat my weight in peanut butter kind of person? Because when I was growing up, you could give me peanut butter and a butter knife, and that's basically what I ate. I'm a peanut butter person. Hey, I told Aaron I like peanut butter. I was like, I really like peanut butter. I think he had the same jar of peanut butter for like 5 years. Probably not, but it was really old. And I go through a lot more peanut butter than that. And that's still a lot of peanut butter for me, but I can't get it out really well. But I will get it out with a butter knife. I can get this down to next to nothing with a butter knife or a spoon and or a spatula and eat that myself. So that's a snack. Put that on an apple. We do not let that go to waste at all, period. We will eat that. And I got these on sale. So before you all are like, Julia, what are you doing? You're eating the expensive peanut butter. Listen, I got all these on sale. Whenever Christmas comes around, these things go on sale really, really cheap, especially at our local food line. I always look, they go like buy one, get one, or buy two, get one you get them for like 3 for $8 or something like that. And that's whenever I load up on all of these. So, but when I price these recipes out, do understand I price them out how I would normally make them, not quite how I making them today, because I did price them out with the normal recipe in mind. So I am putting a little bit more peanut butter than I normally would. This recipe calls for a cup, and I'm guesstimating here. So this is 5, so it's about 5 cups. And I'm going to try to get all the extra peanut butter off of here. Because again, we do not want it to go to waste. We like peanut butter in this house. We are a peanut butter family. My little one is. We enjoy peanut butter quite a bit. As you can tell, because we're going to make a lot of peanut butter sandwiches here in a little bit. So we have this here. And now this is one of the things I did not have added, but whenever I was going through my pantry to look for things, I was like, oh gosh, I have these. I should add these to my granola because this would be a great thing to add. They're cocoa nibs. So I had these whenever I was doing this gluten-free diet and I was doing sugar-free and all these other things. And I was like, I can add this to this particular granola. It won't hurt anything. And I'm also going to add it to my chocolate covered espresso beans. It's supposed to kind of help, people use it to kind of help a headache. They don't melt, so it works well for that. And I'm just going to pour a good chunk in here. And this is just to use them up. I do not like to eat cocoa nibs plain. So I'm hoping this is a good way for me to use these up because it's all about a pantry challenge. We're going to use things up. So put a good chunk in there. And if this is a good way for me to use them up, then that's what we're going to go with. And you can't see it, but my stuff here is actually starting to slurry. And I use this particular skillet because it doesn't really stick in it. I like this skillet a lot. It's not as heavy as my cast iron. It's supposed to be non-toxic. Supposed to be. And nothing really sticks in it. And it's all melted. So there we go. But I'm going to turn it off because I do not want it hot whenever I go to add it in. Because what I don't want it to do, I don't want it to cook my granola. That's what I'm not wanting. I don't want my granola to be cooked. I just needed that chocolate and sugar to kind of melt together. So now we're going to add some salt. So because it's 5, we're going to do 5 quick hits here. And we're going to add a touch of vanilla. Oh, this, I feel like every time I go to use this one, I can't get it open anymore. Just a little touch of vanilla for mine, just a hint. And we are going to set mine to the side. We will use that spoon later because I need this to be cool to add it in. But we are, for the most part, ready to go. Then we'll mix it together, and then it'll go into the oven once this is cool. Now, let's make this one. This is the vanilla. This is the fun one. This one, we actually paid up for it, and we didn't really realize how much we would like it before, but we started making it homemade. Aaron really likes this one, so we use cranberry. So I've made this with dates before, but Aaron really likes it with cranberries. So the cranberries, you can see here, it says $6.49. We did not pay $6.49. We had 15% off of this, so we paid way less than that. So I'm going to use, because this is a ×4 recipe, I'm going to use about 1/3 of this bag. So, yep. Yeah, about 1/3. Yeah. My little one has already asked for some of these. I told her she had to wait till after the video. Like, can you please wait till after nap time, and I will give you some. Please wait till after nap time. We're going to add some salt. 2, 3, and 4. And then here is our honey that we have here. As you can see, it has some honeycomb in it. This was given to us by my father-in-law. He found this back in his pantry, and he can't eat honey that quickly. He keeps a lot of honey, but he can't eat it fast enough before it would go bad. But we go through quite a bit of it, so I was like, I have it. I don't have as much maple syrup as I have honey. This recipe, it would actually go really well in. This is sourwood honey, which is really popular and really prevalent in our area, versus like some of the others that you might see in other areas, which is, you don't see like a label, so it's probably something he got local. So I'm going to use probably about half. I do tend to make this one a little sweeter for Aaron. I cut back the sugar quite a bit on mine, but again, this was free for us. And for honey, I can catch honey on sale at Rural King. I can catch honey. I caught it $9 for 5 pounds, which I feel like is a pretty decent deal. I do need a little bit more. And it does have the comb, and I'm trying to keep that because I know Aaron will want that comb. He'll want that. He will want it to put on like a biscuit or something. I made him and he and the little one tried the honey before we started this, just to make sure it was still good. It wasn't too sour. It is very sour. I tried it too, just to make sure it hadn't lost its taste. And probably the most expensive part of this is going to be the vanilla. And but I will use quite a bit. But again, we're doing a ×4 batch of this recipe, so we will use all of this vanilla. But I have more that I pulled out just in case we needed it, because we do want the vanilla in this to kind of kick you in the face. We want to kind of hit you face forward. Want it to be very, very prevalent. But the cranberries do very well with this. If you're going to do something else, like another fruit, raisins would be very good. The dates do well. They just get very chewy. They get very, very chewy. But the cranberries are really, really wonderful. We do like the cranberries quite a bit. This is okay. It's just, I prefer the chocolate. To me, the chocolate almost tastes like Cocoa Puffs. So if you're a chocolate lover like I am, the chocolate's really, it is my favorite. I'll openly admit that I'm a chocolate girl. I love chocolate. It's just one of those things. My preference. So I'm adding a little bit of water to get my oats moist. I want them a little wet to get them mixed, but not too wet. So that's kind of our goal here. We want them moist enough to work, but not too moist. You can see here, we're already starting, because then we'll get these in the oven, and it takes about 20 minutes. And what you'll do is you'll put your oven on like about 375, 400, and about 10 minutes in, you'll stir it, and you've got to watch it because it does burn very fast. And if it burns, it's gone. It does not taste good. You'll stir it, and then you'll pull it out, give it a couple minutes, or put it in like a big bowl. I like to just take it and dump it in a bowl. That's why I have these silicone mats. Use these silicone mats. They're clean. They don't look clean. They are clean. They're just old. Very old. You will put them on those and work with them there. I know a lot of my stuff has been worn and loved and used very, very well. When I start thinking about how long I've used stuff, and it just, yeah, I start to feel very old. And, oh, it already smells so good. It smells so good. You smell that vanilla. Aaron, he loves this. And this is just really good, especially like on Sunday morning. Sunday is usually not my cooking day anymore. I usually cook on Mondays, but Sunday during the Pantry Challenge is my cooking day because I need to film on Sundays because I need Aaron's help for filming on Sundays. But Monday has really become my cooking day most of the time during the week when we're not doing a Pantry Challenge. So a lot of times Sunday I will have, especially whenever it's warm and we're trying to keep the house cool, unless I, think ahead and I'll cook bacon or something like that night before. If I do cooking that night before or something, I'll try to do, if I'm not cooking in the evenings, we'll have cereal in the morning. Because it's easy, it's cool, it doesn't take any effort or energy. It's just, I like having the cereal, and it's just so nice to have in the pantry. And it keeps for a really long time, especially if you put it in a glass jar and you use that vacuum sealer for a really long time. And you get it dry enough, so you don't want to put too much water in it. And you can see I didn't put a ton of fruit in here. So So it's got just enough fruit to give it some flavor, but you can see it's not got a huge amount of fruit. It's going to be enough to give it like a bite here and there, but it's not a massive amount. You can even cut it back a little bit more. It's not a huge amount of fruit. And like I said, for us, the recipe, the cost that I'm giving you, it's going to seem a little high, and it is a little bit high. I feel like it's a little high when I did my estimates, because I'm trying to be realistic here, because it's for everybody, it's going to be a little bit different. That it just is, because that's probably the most expensive part, is the fruit. Because if you did dates or something like that, they're going to be a little bit more expensive, but you could take dates a lot further. Because you could cut them out down smaller, but it's going to be a little, this one's a little bit more expensive because of the fruit. But you can cut down the sugar. You can use regular sugar. You can add it to some water, kind of make a syrup instead of putting the water in here, so it kind of mixes in to get good and coated on top. I would say it would probably melt in the oven, but I don't know if I would trust it to melt in the oven. You probably use corn syrup if you are a corn syrup family. We aren't. We do try to avoid that, just as a personal choice. So that one is fully ready. So here's what that looks like. Sorry, I should have showed you. Fully done, fully ready to go. That one will be ready to go in the oven. Got my hands a little sticky there when I touch that. Need to felt off, and let's see what, okay, that's not too hot, so sure that's not too hot. Okay, but I do want to make sure it's not going to be too hot on my countertop. Okay, so now we're going to, you can see how dark this looks. It looks so black, and that is just from that cocoa powder. And most cocoa powder wouldn't look this dark, but this one just does. It always looks so dark. It just gets just really dark. I don't know why. We got it just to try it, and I wouldn't get it again, because it just did not go over super well with my family. It did make it drier. It just tended to be a little bit drier whenever I baked with it. But for this recipe, it should be fine. Just to finish it off. And all the rest of the cocoa powder I have in my pantry, it's just regular cocoa powder. So, should be good to go. So, there's that. Now we are going to get all stirred in. I mean, that looks, it doesn't look like cocoa powder. It looks like something else. It does look like you're just stirring up pure molasses. And I know it's not. I know what it is. But it looks like you're stirring up like molasses that's been cooking down for, I feel like it's what I'm stirring up is molasses, and I know I'm not. And this is probably the hardest part of this entire one, is stirring up all of the ingredients here. But it is my favorite. And it will probably look closer to Cocoa Pebbles, because this one will look so dark, and it just is so yummy. I will eat this when I'm in a hurry. I will eat this when I don't have a breakfast made. I'll just use like a small amount. Like I'll have like a cup of this when I'm in a really quick hurry. Maybe I'll have it with like an egg and have like a half of a cup, really small bowl, when I need a little extra something just to get through the morning. It works really well for me. Just, again, this is the hardest part. And if you don't want to do big batches, you can do it in small batches and just do multiples. I just prefer to get it all done at once, and I'm probably going to have to get like a glove and kind of hand mix this in, which is fine. I can do that. So let me go ahead and get that done. Let me get a glove and hand mix this in. We'll be right back. Okay, I have a glove, clean glove here. And all I'm going to do is just kind of work on getting this mushed together. It's a little easier by hand. You know, if you've ever mixed meatloaf, it's easier to do it by hand than it is by spoon. We don't eat meatloaf very often. Like, I'll do a barbecue meatloaf, but we don't really eat like traditional meatloaf here. It's not my favorite. But if you need a hack for meatloaf, use salsa versus getting all the other ingredients. Just put salsa in your hamburger meat. It works. Instead, I was doing that at home before I moved out. Whenever we would have meatloaf, and it works really well because my parents would eat it, and that would work really, really well. So if you're looking for something, a way to cut your time, and you can get salsa, it saves you some time if you're a busy mom, and you're looking for a way to cut your effort and your time and your energy, there's you a quick hack. Save yourself some time. If you can get the salsa on sale, you're gonna have to see what the prices are and everything like that. That does matter. But if you're looking to make sure you're doing your dotting your I's and crossing your T's when it comes to your cost analysis on that. I wasn't, doing the calculations at that point. I was just helping with the cooking. But now I do all those cost analysis, so I do make sure we are doing what's best for our grocery budget. This does need some water. It is very, very dry, which to be expected. It's peanut butter and cocoa powder and water, so I was expecting it to be a little bit dry. Again, we don't want it to be too wet or too dry. We just want it to be just dry, so you go slow with the liquid. Once you do this a few times, you kind of learn what the granola needs to feel like, and there's lots of recipes out there online. This is just what I have found. I try to keep my granola really simple, and I don't want it to be really super complicated. I keep it 3 cups, and I keep my sweetener simple, but I do try to cut the cost of the sweetener, so I will add molasses. I'll use what we have. For this sweetener, I did use the plain sugar. That's why I was trying to use what we had with the regular sugar, because the maple syrup is more expensive. And I have cut how much I use, because most recipes that before were using a 1/2 cup, and I am trying to cut how much sugar I'm getting, so I use a 1/4 cup in mine. So Aaron got quite a bit more sugar in his. I got quite a bit less in mine. And I'm doing that on purpose. Okay, yes, much sweeter. So you can tell it kind of crumbles up here. That's what we're looking for. Now, when we cook it, we won't crumble it up. We'll lay it out flat to where it's to where it can kind of cook. So I don't throw stuff into the floor. That is done. Okay, let me show you how we do these peanut butter and jelly. I'm not going to do them all, but I do want to show you what they look like, and then you can kind of see how this works, because I swear to you, it does work. And I never would have believed it if I hadn't tried it. It works with homemade bread. It works with homemade tortillas. And it's just so good. So I do these with, I try to do it with 2 different types of jelly. So right now I have an apple butter, and I've got a peach butter in the fridge I will pull out and use, because we use what we have. And that's just what we do here. And I've got our natural peanut butter. I think we got this one for free. We have a Kroger's, and what they do is, actually I need to get my chocolate going first. So let me do that. Nope. Nice, made a mess. This is almond bark chocolate, the chocolate almond bark. Let me get all that chocolate off the countertop because we do not want it to go to waste. Okay, so I'm using this chocolate almond bark. We're going to get it in my double boiler. So a double boiler is a pot with water and a pot here. I actually bought this when we got married because Aaron decided he did not want to see me use a colander. So what I would do is I'd use a big pot. I'd put a dish strainer, we call it a dish strainer, or a colander, depending on where you're from. In the South, we call it a dish strainer. It goes to your dish, you pour your pasta in it, and it drains the liquid out. We call it dish strainer, so you put dish strainer on it. And then I'd put a bowl on top of that, and I'd melt my chocolate in it. My mama always did it in the microwave, but we would do it a little different. I always like to do it on the stove. So what we're going to do is we are going to get this chocolate melting because we're going to take my espresso beans here and we are going to put them in it. Now espresso beans have caffeine in them. This is kind of like a natural Excedrin. Like Excedrin has caffeine in it and it kind of helps with headaches. So I can get them online. I can get chocolate covered espresso beans, but they are super expensive. I can make them a lot cheaper. And I'm very careful with how many I do, but I make like these little, I can do them individually. I can individually roll them out and have like one each. But instead I make like little clusters, like 5 or 6. And I'll take this bark and then I'll take a better chocolate and kind of melt and put on top of them so it's not so bitter. Oh, excuse me. So it's not so bitter. And what we will do is we'll make about 2 or 3 jars full, and this will last me for a really long time. And I'll have this in the pantry for whenever I'm having a really hard day, or you know, at the end of the day I need something just to kind of help ease my headache. And we kind of do this in combination with all the other things that I do for my headache. Combination with the salty peanuts, a combination with the liquid IV, with the coffee, with the espresso shot, with everything. It's kind of like I do a lot of combination things. The glasses, we're doing a bunch of little things to kind of keep the headache manageable. So we don't have to resort to taking other medications that, or well, the other medications, most of them don't work anyways. So need to get that going. Put that on high. So we got my apple butter. This is homemade apple butter that we made from our own homemade apples. And I made these tortillas and they're super, super thin. God, I was real happy with how they turned out. They're not pretty. Not pretty at all. You know, they're not perfectly round or pretty. I don't care. I'm not the one. If you are looking for beautiful, perfectly done food, you have came to the wrong channel. Like, you have came to the wrong channel. I am your real deal girl. I am the girl who, if you want to come and just see real food, get it done, but it tastes good. It tastes really, really good, and you are going to enjoy it. And we can have fun together, and we can talk, we can laugh, and I'm just your real girl. You came to the right channel. So we, they're beautiful and they taste so good and they smell so good making. So we have our peanut butter. Now, I priced these out to use like a cup of peanut butter per batch. We are not going to use anywhere near a cup of peanut butter per batch. Nothing like that. I don't even think we're going to use a tablespoon of peanut butter per batch. It's probably going to be closer to like half of a tablespoon per batch because I just don't use that much peanut butter. We use just enough peanut butter on these, especially if you're using this natural stuff. It just doesn't take very much. It's so thick. It's so thick. And I will say, if you do get natural peanut butter, it is worth the investment, especially if you're going to buy it going forward. It is so worth the investment to get one of those stir-in things, because I like this, the like lid, and it's got the little stir stick in it. It is so worth that investment, because I did actually end up getting one, and it was worth every penny. I don't have to use it very often, but buddy, when I use it, it's so much easier than sticking this knife inside of there and trying to stir it. It gets it so much better incorporated. It's just so much easier than me trying to do it myself. And this peanut butter is so much thicker, and it gets so much more dry. And I just don't put a lot of peanut butter on these things. I really don't. This is it. I don't want to leave that in there. It'll get messy. This is it. This is all the peanut butter I do. And if you have if you're using this kind of peanut butter versus this kind of peanut butter, you will have a mess, because this is very liquidy. Now, this kind of peanut butter, you can go a little thicker. But this kind of peanut butter, you're going to have a mess. So we use this because this has actually been really good for Aaron. It really helps his antacid. It's something about it really keeps him from belching as bad. I don't know what it is. It just stops him from belching as bad. I will tell you, for me personally, I can't eat a spoonful of this. It's good on fruit. I like it. It's okay, but I'm having a harder time adjusting to this than that, because I like peanut butter so much that I've had the other stuff all my life, that I'm having a much harder time adjusting to the natural stuff. The little one doesn't really care. She just wants peanut butter. She doesn't really mind at all. And she doesn't really mind. Aaron likes the natural stuff. They're the ones who eat this more than anybody. So that's who I'm really making this for, is for Aaron and Isabel. Because again, I eat more eggs. I eat more of that kind of thing than I do anything else. That's really what I eat: eggs and apples for lunch, and eggs for breakfast. Sometimes I will eat cereal. I have the cereal for when I need it, but for the most part, it's eggs and apples. But I do try to keep these really light on everything. Now, I do go a bit heavier on the butters, simply because I don't want them dry. Now, I might need more, and that's okay. I can go pull something else. But I always try to make sure that when I'm using my butters, or my jellies, I always try to mix it up. I don't do the same one over and over again. So I don't do grapes for all of them, and I don't do strawberry for all of them. So I'll do an apple butter, I'll do a pear, I'll do a peach, I'll do a grape jelly, I'll do a blackberry, I'll do something else, because I don't want them to get bored with the same thing. I have so many jellies up there that there is no reason at all for them to get bored with jelly. Like, there are so many different flavors up there that there's no reason at all for them to get bored. So I have enough room on this one. I can get another little dollop there, and I put a little bit more on that one. Like I said, this is really thick, and these cut beautifully. They freeze really well. You just set them out the night before, and it works super, super well. Gosh, this works so well. Okay. And we're going to set that right there. And then I'm just going to roll it from the small side over. And then all I do is, I'm going to leave it on the board. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap it in wax paper or parchment paper and put it in a baggie. And whenever I need it, I will pull it out as needed. and it will be individually wrapped. And you can cut these in half now if you wanted to, but I probably will not. But I will have these individually wrapped. And I'm going to do the same thing with our bread here. I'm going to cut it, and I've got 4 loaves of bread. So whenever all of this gets said and done, you will see I've got more tortillas than this to do before the evening's over. So we'll have a stack of tortillas. We'll have stacks of sandwiches. All will be done full of sandwiches and full of tortillas, ready to go for yard sale season and everything else. And we'll probably go through a few jars of jelly and jam, which is fine because we have plenty of it. But what this does is it frees me up, so whenever the little one is something she might not eat for dinner, instead of having to go get chicken nuggets, or if I don't have chicken nuggets, she can have this, or she can have something else. Or if we're going to go yard selling, it's going to be a really long day, I can have these ready to go because this is cheaper than us picking up something else to eat. So this is my plan. This is the plan, the grand scheme of things. I like having these on hand. It really does help us save money. And I really did learn this from Jameryl Stewart. She said she did it. I was like, there's no way this works. There's no way this works. But I tested it with a few, and you know what? By gosh, it did. And not only did it work, my family didn't notice, and I had my father-in-law test it too, and he said he couldn't tell a difference. And I was like, okay, we'll go with it. So I'm going to set this to the side, and we'll work on this a little bit later because you all don't want to see me just do 100 of these, because that's what it's going to be, 100 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And I don't think I could talk through 100 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Now, let me show you our cracker bread. So I've already made the dough. And you're like, Julia, I have no idea what cracker bread is. That's okay. That's okay. I've got the recipe card here. But I'm also going to link the video where I show you how I make this from scratch down below. So you can watch that video because I show you from start to finish how I make this. And here is the basic recipe. I'm going to stop for a 10 count. So it's really simple. And I don't think you actually need to use the whole wheat flour. I used the whole wheat flour because it was something I already had before I even started making this. I did not go and buy whole wheat flour for this recipe. I had whole wheat flour. That's the only reason I did it for this recipe. Now, I made this ×3 because my family likes it. And the seasoning that I use for this is chili lime. This one in particular, my family loves it. So, you know the Takis at chili lime, or Aldi used to have these chili and lime Cheez-Its, like Cheeto-like things. It was a long time ago, but they used to have these like little chili lime Cheeto-like things. They were so good. This is as close as we can get to that seasoning. I tried to make some once. It did not work out very well at all. But we found this. We bought several bottles of this, and this works really well with this recipe. In this recipe, you put it in a jar. If you bake it crisp, and you have to be careful because this one will burn. This one will burn very quickly. Very, very fast. It's very quick in the oven. So you have to be very, very careful, very, very cautious. And but you make it, you put it in it, and it tastes so good. You put it in there, and it's just wonderful. It tastes just like those chili lime ones. So we have it, you can see it, it's in here, and normally you could press it in. I went ahead and added all of that seasoning into this dough, and it smells so good. It smells so yummy. It smells just like that chili lime. You can smell it straightforward. It's on the nose. And I'm going to go ahead and work my dough a little bit, and I don't really need any flour. I don't think. Put my flour up. I wasn't thinking whenever I got it out. But I let it sit long enough. And when I first made this recipe, I made some alterations to it because It's like, you need to split this into like 30 balls. And I was like, I'm not doing that. And you need to do this and this and do this. And I'm like, I'm not doing any of that. That doesn't make any sense to me. I'm all about practicality. So what I do is I tend to break it off. So I did it times 3, and I'll tend to break it off into like 5 to 6 balls, 7 balls, 8 balls, and get it as thin as absolutely possible onto one of my silicone sheets. I'll roll it out right onto it. And then what I will do from there, let me stir my chocolate here. Make sure it's not getting too hot and I'm not getting water in my chocolate. I do want to add some salt to my chocolate because I do not get enough sodium. So adding some salt to that chocolate does not hurt me. And we are going to start the process of getting this as thin as possible, because we want this super thin. I mean, we were talking about as thin as we can get it. And the thinner it is, the better it is. Like, we're talking uber thin. Like, really, really thin. And then we'll cut it after we get it really thin. And then we will cut it with this thing, because it won't hurt our mat. This is another thing that I got whenever I started cooking and baking a lot, whenever I started moving towards homemade scratch. Like homemade breads and pie crusts and things like that. I needed to increase how I was making things. I needed some new tools. And I was like, I need to make some investments. So the thinner you get this, the faster it's going to bake, but the better it's going to taste, because you want this really to get as thin as possible. And again, this is probably something most people won't want to bake in bulk. It does get your kitchen warm, so it is something better to do, you know, hot part of the day, you're gonna do it at night, or if you want to do a lot of it in the winter time. But it does keep for ages if you put it in the oven, or if you put it in your pantry. You can seal it in your pantry in a jar, because we did test it. I put it in the pantry, I put it in one of those vacuum seal jars, and it stayed for ages. So let me know, drop a comment down below, what's your go-to pantry staple when you're bored and, you know, you're burnt out, you don't want to cook. What do you do? How do you get back into your rhythm? I'd love to hear from you. We read everything, because I can tell you now, I'm burnt out. This pantry, it almost didn't happen. I was like, I'm done. So we're going to keep getting this done. And if I have room here, I'll add another little piece, because we don't want to just do a little bit. We want to make sure this is full. And again, we want to get it super thin. The thinner we get this, the better it's going to be. And this is another one of those things that we cook it and we want it to be cool. When we get done with it, we'll put it in a bowl and let it completely cool. Then we'll get it into glass jars. You can see all that wonderful seasoning in there. You can press some more into it. You can see all that wonderful seasoning in there. And it's super thin. Like, it's super, super thin. And I'm going to add just a little bit more. Like, not a huge amount, because again, we got to be careful. We don't want too much here, because we don't want this to get too big. Got to be very careful with how big these things get because we want it to have enough room. We can always add more. You can always take some off, but it's a lot of work. It's kind of like rolling out a tortilla, but you want it to be really, really thin. And it doesn't get, like a tortilla tends to be a little bit more elasticy. It doesn't have that same kind of, it doesn't bounce back quite the same way a tortilla does. It tends to stay, kind of keep its shape a little bit better. I just find it doesn't have that same, but it does have some yeast in it, so you do want to keep that in mind. And it will kind of puff up some in the oven. And if you do get ahead, you might have to like push them back down again. So something just to keep in mind as you're working through them. So just trying to get some really thin ones right here. Because again, I don't want to waste any room in the oven. The oven's going to be on really high for this. It has to be on 450. So we don't want to waste any room on the pan. Make sure the pan's completely full. But I have found that for me, it works a lot better if I do it to where the whole thing is full versus me trying to spread it out into like individual pieces. I don't like doing like a lot of little bitty pieces individually, but then I could just take my little cutter like this on the front end and then just cut my crackers. And they're so good. They're so good. The little one, she loves these so much. When Aaron pulls them out, I don't know who likes them more, Aaron or Isabel, because they both will fight over them. And I don't do anything fancy with them. I just literally cut them. I don't poke any holes in them or anything like that. I literally just cut them. That's it. And then these are ready to go into the oven. So everything is, for the most part, pretty well ready to go. The only thing I have to work on is getting our espresso beans. So let's see if we can get that going. So we'll get this into the oven here in just a second. All right, let's get these espresso beans onto my parchment paper. Okay, so I'm gonna pull off my double boiler and I wanna kind of get the water off the bottom of it. And see, my chocolate's mostly melted, but it's melted enough here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add in some of these cocoa nibs. I wanna be careful again because I don't really like the taste of the cocoa nibs, but I'm trying to use these up because I want them out of my pantry. So I'm gonna put in a good amount here. We'll see if they help my headache. And that's the goal here. See what helps. See what helps. And we are going to put in these espresso beans. So we're going to put in a good amount here. So we are going to put in, these are strong. I'm going to put in quite a bit. Now we did a small batch of these when I first did them because I was just seeing if I could handle them, and this was the brand I could handle the best. So when I first did them, I actually ended up making 2 quarts. So we're going to see how many I can actually end up with. And I'll show you what I do. So we're just going to keep stirring these up just to kind of get them coated with the chocolate here. And they'll get coated. And then what I will do is I will melt this chocolate just enough and put it on top of it so it's got just enough chocolate taste so I can stomach the actual taste of the beans. Because we don't, it's really hard to eat these cocoa beans when they're not commercially made, because when they're commercially made, they have like this huge amount of chocolate on them. It's not like when you do them homemade, because when you do them homemade, you just have a little bit of chocolate unless you're dipping them over and over and over again. I don't have that bandwidth or the patience to do that. So I could put more in here. They're very, very strong. And we probably paid, I think, I want to say about $16. And this is a 2-pound bag. And for 2 pounds of chocolate covered cocoa beans, it is around $35. It's very expensive for the chocolate ones. And that's just, and they might last. And it's going very slow. Very, very slow on them, being very careful how many I eat. They're only going to last a couple months. This will last me several months. I will be very, very careful and make these last a really long time, because it's time intensive, but it's much cheaper for me to make these at home. And it just makes more sense. And I still have enough chocolate that I can get just a few more beans in here. So what I'm looking for is for not all that kind of extra chocolate on the side, because again, we're going to put a little bit more chocolate on. Well, now I probably can go ahead and start dropping these. So what I do, and I still have half of a bag left. This was my second batch that I tried. Bag that I tried. I got another one at our local grocery store, and I didn't like that one terribly well. So here is how much I put in ours. I put, like I said, about six beans in each little cluster. It's not very many. It's just enough to make a little bitty cluster. So it's just like a little ball of espresso beans. And this works for me. It might not work for everybody else. You might need to get them. I can't find espresso beans locally. The only place I can really source them is on Amazon. And again, they're just real expensive. It's not worth that cost to me. But I can make them homemade like this, and this works really well for me. And it works for my headache. It helps it some. And that's what we're looking for. Just find ways to kind of help ease the pain naturally. So this is what we end up with, and we'll melt this other chocolate and put on top of it. So this is what we get, and we'll just repeat and get as many of these on here as we can. Let them set and get them into a glass jar. I will seal some and put them in the pantry on a shelf and just kind of let them sit. I'm going to put this back on this pot so it kind of stays warm. So I'm going to repeat. I'm going to get all of this in the oven. When we come back, everything's going to be done into jars. You're going to see what all of it looks like whenever we are done. I'm hoping it'll be done tonight. We'll see. If not, it will be done tomorrow, and you can see what it all looks like. But I will be done tonight. I have to be done tonight. So we'll come back here in a few hours. You can see what it all looks like after it's all been cooked. All right, I have all of this food almost ready to go into the pantry. My espresso beans are not quite ready to go into the pantry yet, but a lot of this food's ready to go in the freezer or into the pantry. So let's get started, and I'll break down the cost. So let's start with our roll-ups and our sandwiches. So as you can see, these are already wrapped and ready to go. Aaron is not on camera, but he is behind and he is on mic. So he's going to talk about it. These are life-saving, aren't they?
They are, and they're so good and handy too.
They are, and they thaw. You can't even taste that they were frozen.
You can't, and I thought you would be able to.
You did, and I didn't even tell you they were frozen, did I?
No, you didn't.
I didn't. So cost for these, and these are approximate numbers. Now you have to remember, so first off, we make our own jellies, jams. and I get the best deal I possibly can on our peanut butter. So if you're getting cheaper peanut butter, and you can be getting these for a lot cheaper. So I'm upping my costs a little bit for these, so you can get these a lot cheaper. And I'm probably over exaggerating my costs a little bit. I'm saying that these were about $2.50 a piece. So for the bread, the sandwiches, and the roll-ups. That's exaggerating a little higher per batch. So per batch. Aaron's looking at me. He's like, that's a little expensive. I'm exaggerating because the peanut butter is expensive. The jelly, the jams, all of that, it's a little bit more expensive. So I'm trying to be realistic. I'm trying to give you real numbers. And we use the organic, we use the more natural stuff. So I'm trying to be real with y'all. So as you saw, we use a little bit of everything, but I'm trying to be real, so I probably use less than that. I would probably say it's probably closer to the $2, $1.50 to the $2 range in our reality versus the $1.50. Now the sandwiches is probably closer per loaf to $2.50 because it is the per loaf. Because the loaf is about $1.50, I think $1.50, $1.80, and then you have the peanut butter, and you have the jelly as well. And we have all of these. I did 3 loaves. I ended up doing 3 loaves, and we have all of them pre-wrapped. Just pull them out of the freezer and do them. Now sometimes I will label them. This time I did not, because it's all butters. So it's peach butter, it's apple butter. It works, and it's just fine. And they all freeze and thaw wonderfully. So you pull them out and you can eat them. So whatever you want to do. Now let's get to and I did end up having a few of the roll-ups. The tortillas cracked. So we will be having these for lunch. Aaron and Isabel will have these for lunch. I'll cut them up and they'll eat these for lunch because tortillas cracked. They were a little stiffer than the ones that rolled up really easy. So put those in a container. Now let's get to the cracker bread. I'm lucky I got any into a jar because Aaron and the little one were gobbling it up as soon as I was getting it out of the oven.
They are really good when they come right out of the oven.
And you really do have to watch this because it does get a little dark on you. As you can see, I have some that got a little dark on me. You can tell, like, I have 2 shades here. But you can still eat it. I had Aaron test it. I was like, do I need to toss it? And he said, no, it doesn't taste burnt.
Right.
So it's still good to eat. But I did separate it out because Isabel is less likely to eat it at this color.
Yes.
But Aaron will, as long as it doesn't taste burnt. So it's okay. That's all that matters. But it's very, very good. If you're looking for a homemade shelf-stable bread, it does require some effort and some work. You do have to watch it. And what happened is, I was working on, you have to make sure you have a timer. I didn't have my timer going, and what I was doing is working on these. I was working on these, and I was just working away, and all of a sudden, I'm like, oh wait, I have cracker bread. My last 2 things are cracker bread in the oven, and I looked up, and there it was. Now these are like my real winner, and this is one of my cheapest things. And can you look at and tell me how much the cost is on these?
For that one, it will be, it says 85 cents to $1.
85 cents to $1. So these are around $1 a piece. So these are super cheap per batch, around $1 a batch. I mean, you cannot do any better than that per batch of these. It's an amazingly cheap if you're looking at it. And I would round up to $1 because of the seasoning in it. For us, because we use so much more seasoning, because Aaron likes that bold flavor. He likes that flavor to hit you in the face. He doesn't like it to be very mild and light on flavor. We've tried a bunch of different flavors. I've tried barbecue seasoning. I've tried garlic and Italian. I've tried just salt. And he would want the salt or plain for dipping, or he wants the chili lime. Yeah. But that's about it. He doesn't want anything else. But those are his favorite. But the chili lime is the real winner in my house. And my little one, she was wanting these more than anything. And just so you can get the image of what they're like, they snap. And Aaron, I could hear the crunch when he was chewing them from my living room to the kitchen. That is how loud the crunch was on these. Now the granola. Here is the cranberry vanilla granola. And it, even though we used honey instead of the maple syrup, you couldn't really tell. just a little bit of a difference in it, just a touch of difference. And I think it was because it was the sourwood honey that made it just a little bit sour. So we ended up with 2 half-gallon jars of this, which I feel is really good because Aaron doesn't eat as much granola cereal in the mornings as I probably would. He doesn't go through as much of it as I do. But we end up with 2 jars, and his cost per batch, which would be the 3 cups of this, is going to be around $3 to $5 depending on the fruit. So I would leave this about $4 for us because this batch in particular would probably be closer to $3 because the honey was free. Where we had the free honey, it did not cost us nearly as much. It made this much more cost effective for us. But if you're using the maple syrup, you're using the other ingredients that we would typically use in this, it is going to be a little bit more expensive. So it can get a little bit more pricey. Now you have the chocolate peanut butter granola. I was able to reduce the cost on this quite a bit by going with the sugar. I took this from $4 if you use maple syrup to probably closer to like $3. It really cut it down. I would probably say, yeah, it cut the price down quite a bit. You cut out like a whole $1 if you cut that to the actual sugar, and it tastes really good. You cannot tell a difference at all. It's really sweet enough with just 1/4 of a cup of sugar per batch. And with that super dark, it looks so dark. Can you tell?
Oh, yeah.
It's so dark. I used the rest of that really dark cocoa powder that we don't like to use because it was a lot drier. So I got rid of the rest of it. And I also put some of those cocoa nibs in here. So got rid of some of them that way. So we got rid of those, and that was the cost for them. And I got 3 jars. So I have some snacks to eat or a quick lunch, whatever I need to eat, or breakfast. Now, my espresso beans. Here's what they look like. They're not quite ready. I usually leave these for a couple of days out just to make sure they are fully dry. Now, I did not price these out. This was on a whim because I needed to get these. I needed to get these in the pantry. I need to have these on hand, and I will taste test one of these for you so you all can see what they are, because they're not quite done fully dry. You can tell they're still just a little bit wet here, but I will taste test one of these, and they do have the cocoa nibs. So I could tell with the chocolate. I did try a little bit of the chocolate. It had a cocoa nib in it. I couldn't taste the cocoa nib in it, so that made it a good way for me to use that. I can't taste cocoa nib, and that worked really well. So I have 2 trays of espresso beans here, and espresso beans hit you in the face. So what do you think of all this food?
Hey, it's going to be a lot of stuff for us for quick grab and go things, that's for sure.
It will definitely save us money in the upcoming weeks and months with garden season, yard sale season that we have coming up. You know, we have a lot of that where we can spend a lot of money if we're not careful.
Right.
And that was my thought, because this is snacks, breakfasts. It helps save us money, especially these.
Oh, yeah.
So let me know your favorite snack from today in the comments. Which one do you want to try? Make sure you check out our link tree. Be sure to check out the next video where I show you step by step how I make the cracker bread. Thanks for joining us on the Canny Couple, where we work hard, live simple, and enjoy our frugal life. Have a great day.